Super Bowl 56 could end up being one of the biggest moments in music this year, and it's because if you go look at the halftime show headliners, you have Dr. Dre, you have Eminem, you have Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg, and Mary J. Blige. What's interesting about that is that Mary J. Blige and Snoop Dogg both have confirmed albums around that date. Mary J. Blige on February 11th, and then Snoop Dogg on the 13th. So now the question arises, do the rest of the headliners drop new music to be able to promo their stuff? Because you're in front of millions of eyes, you have all these people watching you, there's going to be all kinds of people searching up your music on, music platforms. Why not drop music? So let me know your take, all right? Do you think that Eminem and Kendrick come out first? Because Dr. Dre, I think it's always a mystery, but it looks likely for those two guys to come out with new music.
Yeah, it's looking very likely. And honestly, just to have them headlining the show, I feel like it's every hip-hop fan's dream. And for Kendrick Lamar specifically, I feel like this could be a reality, especially after that Billboard report came out. And I'm going to read it out to you guys because it's very interesting. So on January 27, 2022, Billboard came out with an article, and this is what they wrote. Both Kendrick Lamar and SZA have not released albums since 2017's Damn and Control respectively, though sources tell Billboard a Lamar single may arrive on February 4th or February 11th before he plays the Super Bowl halftime show, while SZA's sophomore effort is expected in the second quarter of the year. So, of course, we didn't get the single on February 4th, but Billboard coming out and saying that sources are confirming that a Lamar single is very possible, that's a great sign because it's not your average Joe in the street telling Billboard. You know what I mean? If they're coming out with this, it's a reputable source, probably from the TDE camp, kind of hinting and getting people excited for a potential comeback from Kendrick. And listen, after that, feature verse on the Melodic Blue on Family Ties, everybody has been hungry. We're at a point where the hype is bigger than it's ever been, and why not capitalize on the opportunity when you have all these eyes on you? And listen, there's no better way to actually kick off the album rollout, and I think that there's a big chance that he drops the single on the 11th.
I would be very surprised if he didn't, because why would sources go to Billboard, especially one of the most reputable music sources within the whole industry? They literally take care of everything. So for them to come out and actually talk about, this new material is quite exciting to me, because the last time we really got a solid indication about new Kendrick Lamar music was from Kendrick himself in the summer, when he was talking about his final album with Top Dog Entertainment and saying that I will be coming real soon. And that's what has me interested now, is okay, we see that there's maybe an indication of a start of a rollout. They're obviously starting press releases. You wouldn't go to this with the press for nothing. So what is the likeliness of this happening to, just from a fan standpoint, pure speculation? What do you think about it?
I think it's very likely because, it's been 5 years since Damn, and I think that right now the fans have never been more ready to receive new music. And for Kendrick Lamar, he's always that guy that thrives on moments. And every time he comes out with a single before the album, Take the Heart Part 4, it creates waves within the industry. And listen, I can't think of a more explosive way for him to actually kick everything off than by dropping the Heart Part 5 or another single where Kendrick's giving you that vicious energy and pretty much going for the throne of the rap game and, establishing that he's the best doing it. And I think that that's what he's capable of doing. And I think that if it's not on the 11th, we'll still be getting a Lamar single in February. And then I think the album potentially in April, May, sometime in the spring. That's my prediction, and it's going to be huge. It might be, experimental from Kendrick, but nonetheless, I think it's going to actually drop. And by the way, guys, let us know in the comments, out of all these artists, which one are you most anticipated for new music? And we'll actually be doing reviews for these songs or albums from Eminem or Kendrick once they do drop, because everybody's hungry, bro.
Everyone is hungry, and I'm super down to be covering this new music. But going back to the Kendrick topic, it's quite interesting because this is solid. This could be a solid step forward, to be able to get new Kendrick music. And I think that's what's interesting about it. But let's talk about this new Eminem album, because it's been rumored for such a long time. Marshmallow's LP3, there was the whole thing of producers coming out and, throwing some sneaky little hints on social media, the whole Obi Trice thing and Royce the 5'9" underneath, the XXL tabloid. There's all kinds of indications, but the album has still not arrived. So I feel as if Eminem's in a situation right now where he could come through and have an extremely strong start to 2022. Take that material and showcase it in front of, the whole population. It's one of the biggest events in North America for the year. Everyone's going to have their eyes on that halftime show. Why not showcase new material? So do you think it happens for Eminem? What's your sort of stance on that?
Listen, I feel like with Eminem, he always thrives with shock value, and what bigger way to come out with another surprise album? Because if you look at his last two releases, Kamikaze in 2018, Music to Be Murdered By in 2020, both dropped out of nowhere. So why wouldn't Eminem, keep up that formula and actually surprise fans by dropping music, which, I mean, I guess it's kind of expected now, but I still see him doing it, and I still see him wanting to play alongside his peers and really come out with new material because, again, there's no time that people are going to be more fascinated in what Eminem has to bring because it's going to be that narrative. It's going to be, okay, Eminem's here, he's showing out, and it's going to be time to see what he could do and what he could bring as he's going into later stages of his career. People still want to know if he has it in him because that's been a topic amongst all hip-hop fans is, could Eminem still deliver a quality fucking album? So it'll be cool to see. I think that he does drop as well, bro. I don't think anyone's going to miss out on this opportunity, to be honest. I mean, the only question mark is more Dr. Dre, but we'll have to see. But that kind of raises a question for me, and I want you to answer this. Do you think that we're going to be in for an Aftermath takeover? Because this was something that was actually hinted at by producer Battlecat, who actually posted a photo on Instagram with the title Aftermath Takeover, and this was a while ago. And he had the names of Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre on a list with check marks. So do you think this is a possibility? Do you think they can go on tour together? Maybe an Up in Smoke Part 2? What are your feelings on this?
Listen, it's all kinds of mystery, but I think it is the right time to come through because people are super hungry for a new Dre album. I mean, who isn't it? Like, if you're a hip-hop fan, you have to be happy for any sort of material coming from Dr. Dre, but on the Eminem side of things, yes, I think that it could happen, and I think it could happen for Kendrick. And if all of those guys drop, that is a takeover. Like, imagine having quality projects drop back to back to back with an event such as the Super Bowl halftime show in that moment. And for Los Angeles, it's going to be absolutely massive, and I think that it's going to be a cultural shock if it does end up happening. Now, even at that, Snoop Dogg, because there was a whole thing of like the deleted post on IG and all that kind of good stuff, but he is geared to drop a new album this month if the IG post ends up being true. So it looks like the right step forward. But let me ask you, do you think that hip-hop fans are still engaged with Aftermath as they were back then? Like, do you think that, they still have that hunger for it? I know I do. I know I'm right here and I'm going to listen to everything and I'm going to fanboy out. But do you still think the younger listeners are gearing up to, like, get ready for these drops?
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. The mainstream audience maybe isn't, like, as much in tune with artists like Dre or with artists like Eminem. I mean, take Dre, for instance. Classic albums in his catalog, but he hasn't dropped since 2015, so people might not be too familiar with his work. But nonetheless, I mean, you have that core fan base of older hip-hop fans and fans like us who just, actually checked out that classic catalog of music, and we know what to expect. And if you really think about it, it's been so long since a mainstream label has had a crazy run in 1 year. And if you have Eminem, Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Kendrick all drop in 1 year, that's mind-blowing. Like, they're going to literally have the entire hip-hop game on lock if they do that, bro. And another interesting thing is that in 2015, Dre said that he wanted to do something similar to an Up in Smoke Tour Part 2, which he titled Beats and Rhymes. And he actually said he wanted Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and other artists to actually be on that tour. So to me, that sounds like he might want to bring that to 2022 because why not?
No, it could definitely happen, and I would fucking go to that any single day.
I would pay serious money for that fucking show.
Absolutely. You have to go witness those legends live. But talking about the live shows now, right? So let's talk about some live experiences. If you went to that concert, what is a set list you would want to see at the Super Bowl?
Like, at the Super Bowl, interesting.
What would you want to see as far as material?
This is what's interesting here is that most Super Bowl halftime shows, they vary between 15 minutes and 30 minutes. So factor that in. You're not getting more than 7 songs performed. All right?
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you might not get 7 songs.
I think that the song they should come out to as the opener is still Dre. I mean, the hype that you'll get from those fucking Scott Storch piano keys, I mean, it'd be such a great moment to show, like, after all of these years, Dre and Snoop Dogg still have that influence and power. So that would be awesome to see as an opener. Apart from that, I think California Love has to be played.
Oh, for sure.
Even though it's just Dre, I still think it needs to be there because you're in Inglewood, California, and it would speak to the people, for sure. Apart from that, for Mary J. Blige, I'd want to hear Family Affair. That's one of my favorites from her. For Eminem, that's interesting because we saw in the trailer, which we'll talk about in a bit, that he did Rap God. And listen, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to hear Eminem, rapping 150 words a second. You know what I mean? I want to hear some Eminem like Till I Collapse, where it's actually a motivational sports song and totally relates to the event.
I would want to see a Forgot About Dre.
That'd be iconic too,
That
man,
would
I
be
know.
super iconic. I think that's probably my number one pick for Eminem songs. But
What
going
about
to,
from Kendrick?
for Kendrick, it's very interesting. I think there's a lot of stuff you could do. I think he's probably going to do all right. I think
Yeah.
that's probably a lock. Like,
All right or humble, but what I want to see is Compton with Dr. Dre, bro. Like imagine that.
That would be huge. It's not that big of a song though, so I don't think it'll get like
It's
that
an
sort of
anthem
attention.
for California,
No, I
you know?
But they should definitely do something around California culture and to be able to really put that on the main stage. Because think about it. What rap artists have done this? I mean, the only the last ones I can remember were Big Boy and Travis Scott, but they were subheaders. Like they weren't necessarily the headliners. For that, it was Maroon 5. So now it's going to be a full control and takeover of rap for this new halftime show, and it presents qualities. It presents an entertaining halftime show, and it also presents a lot of opportunity for new music.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that when you look at like songs they could perform together, the closest thing you'll have to all of them coming together is Bitch Please 2, where you have Snoop, Dre, and Eminem. I don't see the likelihood of that being played out because I feel like at the end of the day, they will go for the mainstream hits. They will go for the songs that the audience is kind of, familiar with, which is cool. I'm okay with that. I don't mind. I mean, they have iconic hit songs, so that would be dope. But yeah, before we finish this off, how do you feel about the Super Bowl trailer? Because it was cool to see, Kendrick Lamar writing down a bunch of, rhymes and throwing them out. That maybe hinted at him, perfecting his craft. You had Eminem, who was kind of battling with the Slim Shady alter ego. So do you think there's any hints there about the actual music that could be coming out?
I think it's very intriguing. It was actually super dope of a trailer. If you guys did not see it, please do so because it'll give you extra context behind it. But yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of where maybe they're at with their craft and what they're doing. With Eminem, I guess it's, kind of being that robotic cyborg with your rhyme schemes and kind of being in, the lab and trying to perfection what you do while being able to battle the Slim Shady alter ego. What was cool about Kendrick is it looks like he was writing new material and he was kind of getting frustrated at times because he wasn't able to find his groove and throwing all the papers around. With Dr. Dre was interesting because you saw Dre on the beach walking, but it was kind of like the return of Dre, like the grandness of the scheme and him
With the
coming
piano
through.
keys on the ocean. Yeah,
that was amazing.
awesome.
Then you see Snoop Dogg in the lowrider and him taking a crazy turn, and then you see Mary J. Blige doing some sort of commercial and her rolling in a Bugatti. So it was super grand. It was super cool. But at the end of the day, I think that this could actually shape up to be an amazing moment for hip hop. So guys, we're going to be covering everything as it goes along. So if any of these artists drop new music, we'll be here for you guys. So hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Thank you so much for watching this, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for watching the full video. And if you're new to NFR, be sure to hit that subscribe button as we'll be keeping you guys updated with the latest album releases in terms of update videos, album reviews, and our own original series on the weekly. And we also have our Patreon plan available in the description below where you can access weekly bonus content and also access to our Discord. So be sure to check out all of that, and we'll catch you in the next one.